Nigerian creative culture sector comes on radio. It's not a fringe approach, but a masterclass reportage on movies, fashion, heritage, and contemporary music, dance, comedy, festivals, cultural orientation, and travel. Every Thursday, 10:10 a.m. with Frank Meke and Bumi Bade Adeniji on Mainland 98.3 FM. Sponsored by Anchor Insurance, where insurance truly works.
Isn't it interesting that, that National Troop of Nigeria is where our guest on Villa Square, found his legs. And, that's where his heart really is. And he was able to bring that to bear on the NFVCB. I hope I'm right with that. But it's time for our Villa Square segment. Frank, let me just hand over to you as we do this together.
Yeah, but we have always done this together.
Yeah.
Doctor is, this is his home, but today...
He's one of us.
Today, I don't know him. So I will use the slang I learned from one of those films I watched today. I watched yesterday because Julie said I should go to the movie, and I will go to that movie because that's what on other people are asking.
Yeah.
Can they go about this film and sensors? But what does what's this institution about? People ask those questions because even people in National Assembly, some of them don't seem to understand, what this organization does. So can you just give us briefly, so that's something that someone can take away quickly and say, oh, no, I understand. Ben. So please, Doc, what is actually is this about?
All over the world,
yes.
Governments, institutions set up structures that can regulate film, knowing that as an artwork, film has very high influence on people, on society. A lot of people, I know a friend, he has never gone to the US, but he dresses, he speaks, he does as if he has even visited the US, but he has never. And that's because he grabbed off from
the movies.
Film. I have a friend of mine, she's Indian today. If you talk to her, it's nain. She has 1 point on her head and all that. She wears Indian.
The saris.
Saris, all those stuff. It's from film. There are some behaviors that our children take on, like they are violent. It's because of the films that they watch, they are exposed to. So governments all over the world, institutions all over the world decided to set up a structure that will look at these films and rate them, classify them in a manner that if you are watching, you know that this one is not in my age range, so I shouldn't watch. So that I don't watch and pick up what at my age I'm not supposed to see. So it's a convention, general convention, and Nigeria picked that up. It was there even in the colonial era, but formally government set up this structure in 1994 to censor films, like tell you what is permissible and what is not permissible, knowing the kind of society that we have. So the classification board has been there from 1994 to date. It was visible some way, but I don't think it was that relevant, So what we did was, when we got there, we said, look, we should achieve more visibility, but we'll also be relevant. Let people know what we are here to do. And we decided to launch a campaign, Safe Screen, campaign, Healthy Screen campaign. People should sit down and watch and know that what I'm watching is for 18. What I'm watching is not for 18. It's for 15 and the rest. You can't have sexual content, and then you are showing them to young people. They begin to ask some kind of questions and they begin to copy, and all that. So what the board is there to do is to classify those films, to rate them. And if I've since been using classification because we no longer censor as far as I'm concerned. Because when I got in, I met the minister and I said, all over the world is classification. That's rating.
Yes.
You rate content, you don't censor. We are not in the business of telling filmmakers how to make their films. You can make your film, but it's the decision that you take, especially when you are editing the film, that matters now. For instance, if you know that so much exposure to blood can cause damage to an audience that is watching, when it gets to that point, you know the decision to take maybe turn it to black and white so that the blood will not be much.
Yeah.
So it becomes the responsibility of the filmmaker. And that's why since I got in, we have been engaging filmmakers. I use every opportunity to engage them because responsibility come into play.
Yeah.
Once you play your role, we will not have much to do at the censors board and bring your film, we give it the rating and then you go away.
All right. One thing that actually made me happy and made that actually I was proud of it because I also very close to government and I see the way most of the appointees do their business. But I just wanted to ask. I see you went back to the owners, and said, "Look, I'm here. We can work together." And I think that's why you are a step ahead of all your colleagues. I'm not really. I'm not classified. I'm not censoring. I'm classified. But give me the opportunity to say this. Not because I know him. Because I noticed that he went back to the people.
Yeah.
Why did you do that?
Okay, if you want to implement a policy and you just think that because government has given you the position of a DG, you just stay there and be shouting
and lord it over them.
People, they will resist it. They will resist, even when they know that it's a good policy, they will resist it. And then having, worked as a film journalist, haven't engaged them, let me just say, I'm that soap that has stayed on the leaf and then
has become soap.
Eventually, the leaf that
has
stayed on the soap that has become soap. So they see me as one of them.
Yeah.
So immediately I got in and I read all the stuff, including the very particular special edition that I was given on this program. That this is one of you, this is one of us, we must support him. I said, okay, if these people have identified and they have acknowledged that I'm one of them, I need to go back to them and say, look, this is what we are going to do to solve the problem. We're no longer censoring. Not that we won't censor anyway, because some of them get out of hand sometimes. Like not too long ago, one came with a religious issue. I said, what's your own problem with issue? You are doing a program, you are doing a movie that wants to cut out one sect. Don't you think that this your film will get to them and then they'll become an uprising? One was going to name political leaders in a film. And usually we come to say, okay, this film is fictitious and all that. But why call their names in the film? You can make your film without naming anyone. Then there's a matter in court that has not been decided. And one said he wants to go and make a film. And it's leading to a conclusion. It was when we called him and said, look, you can't make a film of a matter that is in court that has not been decided. You are just going to turn a filmmaker to a court and all that. That was when he realized that, oh no, he cannot make a film like this. So these are so I went back to them and I said, if we understand ourselves, we won't have any problem. And we have been engaging. In fact, if you call me to a ceremony and I know that there are going to be 50 filmmakers there, I will attend, whether it's in the midnight, because every opportunity I get. Like when I saw the poster Villa Square, I say, hey, this Villa Square, me I go come. Because they listen. They listen to Mainland FM. There's even a full program of movies on Mainland FM that I follow too and all that. So they listen. So I said, let me come and meet people and tell them that, look, we need to be responsible as artists, not just as filmmakers, as artists, even graphic artists, whatever painting you do. You saw the other day in Lagos when some people went to put one graphics at a mosque, and you saw the kind of thing that thing wanted to cause.
Spiraled.
We must make sure that the artists who made that sign, for those people should have known that this thing is going to cause uproar,
controversy.
So we must make sure that we are responsible. So the reason I went to them is that I needed them to help me to do the job. And when we had those engagements, some were telling me what we were doing at the censors board that they didn't like. And I took my management staff, took all of them, I said, "Una here, ko?" And each time, if you can ask them, some of them came with me to the studio. If you ask them, each time I engage with them, I say, "Look, guys, they don't like you guys in the industry. So we must try and
do better.
We must try and change that perception." And today, everybody is saying, well, I'm not to judge myself, even though I work under a president who assesses himself and says, yes, I think I've done well. If you don't tell me I've done well, at least I can pat myself on my back. Well, So that's why we went to engage this.
Yes. We are going to come back to Villa Square, but I'm going to... Next question, actually, because the staff welfare.
Indeed.
I see him, he takes all his staff everywhere. And I'm even there. In fact, one of them, used to be my colleague in the Vanguard newspaper. I said, also, I won't mention his name so that they go chasing him. He's a director now. Maybe if I've taken that line, maybe I would have.
Who knows?
But all the same, we're going to come back to him.
Yeah.
We can't, our time actually is on, so we can go do all that things and come back to Villa Square.
Yes.
Doctor, so you have to tell us how you've been managing your staff. Being that out, I've not seen, film assessors, but I've not seen any of their staff for many years, even though I know where they are. So for him to have brought them out and they are smiling, in fact, I can look at them, the one that are here, you can see how handsome
they are.
Only that I didn't come with the ladies. So we'll be back to you and we can do
Well, that's just it.